All my years as a county manager and working at the executive level in local government, I've never seen a process so unprecedented than this audit. The transparency, the accountability, the integrity, and the overall chain of custody is something that is incomparable to any audit that's ever been conducted in the United States. It was an important part of the process in identifying the individuals to assist us in the audit. Background checks had to be done, social media vetting took place, but we didn't care what party you were, whether you were Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, far left, far right. As long as you entered the building with good intention, knowing that you were going to follow a sense of accountability, that you had integrity, and to do the right thing, this is what it was about. We wanted everybody in this building to be beyond reproach. With over 1,500 volunteers and 200 paid staff, we had people from all over the country in all walks of life. It was important because our chain of command was vital to the structural management process of the audit. We had vice presidents, we had managers, and then we had table managers. But people came from all over, from Pennsylvania to Iowa, from Virginia, Washington, D.C., and of course the state of Arizona. We had retired FBI agents, retired IRS auditors. We had technical professionals. We had CEOs of companies, election workers, and supervisors. We had consultants. We had even a United States Air Force general who had retired, who spent every day working tirelessly to make sure the audit was done with quality. Although it was only Maricopa County residents who voted in the last general election that were able to count ballots and votes, it was important to know that everybody in that building was there for one common goal, and that was to validate the election results and seek out and find any vulnerabilities to provide feedback that would enable Maricopa County's election process to get better, or to provide findings to the Arizona Senate for them to take the necessary measures to restore confidence in the Arizona voter. We had many measures that were implemented to ensure the safety and security of the people within the facility. Badging was something that was very important, where a person to get into the facility had to present their badge, also a legal ID, and be on a list. Another important aspect to this was our COVID protocol, that we ensured that we did not have any issues pertaining to COVID, and people were required to wear masks while on the floor. Any visitors or state delegation personnel that came into the building were also escorted. We had first aid stations on hand, and we had a reunification site set up in the event we had to evacuate the premise. Training was very detailed and extensive. Everyone went through an orientation process before they broke out into their specialized training. If you went to a counting table, you learned what the spinning process was. You actually did a practice tally sheet. You learned what the positions were that were involved in processing ballots and taking ballots off, what table managers did and what pod managers did. If you went into paper examination, you went to a lab where you worked directly with the microscopes and the camera technology in processing the ballots, and the importance of making sure that qualitative images were taken while processing those ballots in the paper examination area. Buzzwords were often used, such as integrity, accountability, chain of custody, beyond reproach, and transparency. And this was the culture that was developed for anyone that stepped in this building. The floor operations had many different moving parts. We had the ballot corrals that stored the ballots and staged the ballots in different ways, from regular storage to staging for paper examination and for staging for further investigation. You had paper examination stations that would then take ballots from the box and process them to obtain the images that were necessary through DSLR cameras and 4 different microscopes that obtained information from each ballot. You had aggregation that would then take the results of the counting tables and input that data into the system to ensure that the proper counts were correct during that process. Ballots didn't move without three things: people, paper, and observation. The people who moved them, the paper trail with the chain of custody that followed it, along with the camera observation that did not at any time allow a ballot box to not be seen. The handling of ballots was also very important. Once a ballot box was cut open and the ballots were removed, it was important that we ensured that the ballots were put back the exact same way they were pulled from each of the ballot boxes. Our goal was to make sure that Maricopa County received the boxes back with all the artifacts in it, along with the order of the ballots, the exact same way that we received them. I think with all the outcry of concern the election results displayed, it was important for the Arizona Senate to bring in an independent to evaluate the results. This was done in a way that was unprecedented, that had never been done before with the detail and the forensic side of the audit. But it was also important to be done in a bipartisan effort with the intent to provide feedback to Maricopa County to enable them to get better in their election process, or to provide findings to the Arizona Senate to enable them to create measures that would ensure that in the future that the residents of Arizona could have confidence in the election process.
Stop everything you're doing right now and pay very close attention to this video if you're interested in generating a reliable and ethical $2,000 to $10,000 per week. Now, if you want absolutely nothing to do with passive weekly income, then please skip this video immediately. Now sit back, put on your seatbelt, and give me a few seconds for this very important message. If you're watching this video on YouTube right now, you already have everything you need to start earning $1,500 to $15,000 or more every week on the internet. You don't need to learn all that techie stuff like building websites or coding. This is a business in a box where you can get checks sent to your door every week. Checks just like these.
$3,500, $7,000 check is another $7,000 check.
$7,000 sale, and you see the date there.
Okay, Antonio Torres. All right, 7,000.
That's my first commission check of $10,500.
$359,000, guys. Last month, this is my personal bank account, okay? You can see the dates up here. This is my bank account from last month, $359,000.
Over the past 5 years, I built an online business that sends checks to my door despite my lack of technical know-how. And now I'm looking for team members to split the profits and help me grow this to the next level. My products are 100% digital. There's no costly overhead. And in a moment, I'll show you how it works. But first, I want to talk about you. When was the last time you had a victory? An honest to God victory just for yourself? You see, most of us work 50-hour work weeks, suffer endless commutes, get paid minimum wage, and for what? To barely get by, rarely see our loved ones, feel more and more left behind, forgotten as the younger generations pass us by. We were all sold the American dream of white picket fences, a big house, a nice car, and lots of time with your family. But instead, you feel like you're in the American nightmare. You give everything you got to serve other people. You're busy taking care of the little ones, grinding it out on a soulless day job. And after all that, you have no time left. So how are you going to make any extra income when you don't even have enough time for a lunch break? Well, I'm about to show you a simple and automated system that took everyday people just like you off construction sites, truck driving, and minimum wage labor to give them an extra income of $1,500 to $15,750 every week. The majority of these people, they have no formal education, technical knowledge, or sales skills. The best part is this system is working to make them money in their sleep. and while they're spending time with their families. This has nothing to do with MLM, bothering your friends and family, or building a website